Okay, hi everybody. We're going to get started. My name is Anna Fowler, and I'm the president of the class of 2013.
And I'm Rachel Price, and I'm the president of the class of 2015.
And we're here to welcome you to the Student Assembly Presidential Debate brought to you by class councils and the Cornell Review. Tonight you'll be hearing from candidates Stephen Breeden and Ulysses Smith, who will be engaging in a spirited debate about the issues most important to you.
But first we want to tell you a little bit about the organizations that have brought this debate to you: class councils and the Cornell Review editorial board. The mission of the Cornell University class councils is to foster a sense of unity and pride within each individual class and among the entire Cornell community. During the 4 years students are on campus and beyond. The sense of pride is fostered through a series of events, programs, and services designed to appeal to the diverse nature of our campus community.
The Cornell Review is a bi-weekly publication made available to Cornell students. For the past 28 years, this newspaper has staffed a variety of writers from across the political spectrum, and they have published social commentary on a wide array of issues facing Cornell's campus. I am pleased to introduce the members of this organization who will be moderating tonight's debate. Alphonse Moglia, Kareem Lakhani, and Noah Concho. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you to Slow Media as well, and to our candidates who are joining us today. We're halfway through campaign season, or campaign week, as the candidates who are with us start to refine their platforms and talk to as many people as possible to know how they will be leading Cornell and the Student Assembly over the next 365 days. So before we get started, I'd like to let you know about some of our rules. In this debate, we're looking to engage the candidates as much as possible on possible issues that they will face over the next year. The categories of the debate include the role of the Student Assembly, relevant campus issues, and their respective platforms and how they plan to execute them. We'll start with the role of the Student Assembly after we do opening statements. Also, at the end, we'll have time for audience questions, so you're encouraged to tweet your questions to the Cornell Review, or just hashtag essay debate, or you can email them to the Cornell Review's email at cornellreview@cornell.edu. So after the opening statements, candidates will have a minute and a half to answer all the questions with a 30-second rebuttal if necessary. So a coin flip before everyone got here decided that Stephen will be doing his opening statement first. 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
So hi everybody, my name is Stephen Breeden. I'm really excited to see such a great turnout, especially with the debate yesterday as well. I really think participation in governance, student government is huge, but I think more so student assembly and student government should be engaging you, and that's why I'm so glad you're here. I want to briefly share with you my platform and then kind of go over my experience and why I think I'm the best candidate for the job. Number one, I want to go over late night safety initiatives. If you look at my platform, it's all about bridging communities. And the one thing that we have in common is the right to a safe walk home. That permeates every single community that's on campus in every color that you could imagine that's on campus. The second thing is finance, looking at the SAFC and making sure that there's adequate funding to all student groups, and then also looking at byline funding to making sure that process is objective. I've been on the appropriations committee for a long time, the last 2 years, and I've been part of that funding decision. The third thing is about actually bridging communities. I've noticed through my experiences on campus that there's dissonance between the communities, like the Greek community, between the multicultural communities and all of the different ethnicities that are aligned with those as well, the athletic community, college town. There's so many different communities and so many different corners of campus that have yet to interact and yet to intermingle. And based on what I bring to the table, being an African American, being a strong member of the Greek system, being an active member in my school, which is the School of Hotel Administration, I think I bring a lot to the table. I'm here to tell you I'm not just a champion for student organizations, but I'm your champion. I'm a champion of the students because I feel I'm the best candidate who can relate to each of your individual experiences, invite you to come bring to the table, and really show you what the Student Assembly can do and what the Student Assembly is all about. It's a combination of outreach, and it's a combination of student, then it's also government. I'm here to tell you I'm going to put the student back in the student government. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ulysses Smith. I'm a fourth year here in the College of Architecture, Art, and Planning. I know that's a rare sighting. I'm dual degree. I also do Government and Arts and Sciences. This upcoming year, if re-elected to the Assembly and hopefully elected as president, will be my 5th year on the Assembly. Coming in, I got extremely involved from Jump Street in student governance. It's something that I've always really held near and dear to my heart. It's been very close to me, simply as a way of really expressing the needs of the community and really helping to express my concerns for Cornell in general. So what exactly is the role of student government? I'm sure we'll get into that very quickly, but the mission of the Student Assembly is to represent all undergraduate students here on campus. We are supposed to be that effective voice for students. We are supposed to take up matters of interest and concern to the student body. How have we done that in the past? Not so well. Not so well. I can tell you right now, I currently serve as the Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion, and it's been an uphill battle on this assembly to help bridge the communities, as my opponent is so fond of saying. It's been an uphill battle to do that, but we have made great strides doing that this year, and I really hope that going forward we will continue to do that. So what am I looking to do this year? My overall goal is to really improve the student experience for all students and create a sense of accountability on this assembly. We have to send the message to the assembly this year that you are no longer going to get elected on this assembly to sit around and do nothing. That's not what we're here for. Too many students depend on us. So we need to change that. And I would love to share with you all the ideas I have for that. And again, improving the student experience for all students. That doesn't just mean the people with whom we're comfortable with. That doesn't mean the people with whom we agree. That means all students. So if you're going to give somebody one platform, you need to give the other person equal time. And that's what we're going to do here this upcoming year. So I look forward to engaging in this debate with Stephen. We've been on the assembly for 2 years together. I've been on it longer. And I look forward to hearing all sorts of questions from you guys as well.
Great. So you'll notice that our debate is structured into 3 distinct categories. So we ask that you hold your applause until each category is done. You'll notice we're changing moderators after each one, so it'll be a good break to recognize the candidates for their answers. So we'll start with, as Ulysses mentioned, the role of student government. Considering that there might be some people in this room who over the last few years do not interact with the Student Assembly on a daily basis, and both of you have at least a year of experience, would you please define in your own role, in your own words, getting ahead of myself, in your own words, the role of the Student Assembly on Cornell's campus? You'll go first.
Well, look at me, I already beat you guys to the punch there. Again, the role of the Student Assembly, as dictated not only by our charter, but by what we're supposed to do in general, is to be the effective voice for all undergraduate students on campus. We are, again, supposed to take up all matters of concern or interest to student bodies. If you look at our charter, even looking in Article 3, look at Section 8, the responsibilities of this assembly, you will go through and see all of the different things that we're supposed to be doing. Like, we're responsible for actually holding public hearings and forums and things of that nature, and really taking on and advocating for the student initiatives. But we haven't really done that as well in the past. I know in my first year on the assembly, I actually authored a resolution, Resolution 43, which clearly defined the role of a college representative, because I was not satisfied as a representative from Architecture, Art, and Planning that I did not know what my job was. I got up there and it was just like nobody was checking for me. Nobody was making sure that I was effectively going back and speaking to my needs and things of that nature. But now you have that on there. Now we're working toward that. We have defined that. You're supposed to meet with your dean every semester. I meet with mine monthly. I would challenge you to figure out how many times my opponent has done that. How many times are you supposed to have effective outreach events with your constituency? I do that all the time. Ask again, has my opponent done that? Not so much. In fact, he even argued against doing those outreach events. So that's why I'm a little confused about the engagement piece when he doesn't seem to stand really for it. So,
great. Thank you. So, I'm going to tackle the role of student government, and then I'm actually going to address Ulysses' remarks and how false they were. So, for student government, I'm not going to quote. I'm glad that he has knowledge of the charter. I do as well. I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm not going to read off text because I respect you more than that. The Student Assembly is a liaison between the students and the administration. That's simple. Our goal is to provide legislation and also spearhead initiatives that you want to see. All right, it's not just about a paper trail. It's not just about how many resolutions that you can author, which, to Ulysses' credit, he's authored a lot. But the problem is, it's the student and the student government. It's not just about the legislation that we have. We're sorely mistaken if we think the only power that we can have is just passing resolutions week after week after week. And I know you might agree, week after week after week, because nothing gets done. It's a paper trail. I'm here to make student government more proactive, which I think the Student Assembly is all about doing. I am in favor of engagement. I am in favor of outreach. And yes, I remember when I got on the Student Assembly, as a college rep, I didn't know what I was supposed to do either, and I believe that was after you instituted those rules. So, ask my dean, Dean Johnson, who I am. He knows me very well. I don't meet with him on a monthly basis, probably bi-monthly, to work on initiatives that I want to see done. And I'm also on the ground on the Student Advisory Board, and I interact with the dean on a daily basis. So it's all about being on the ground as well. Now, I'm here to tell you that Student Assembly is all about reaching out and seeking your input, and not just pushing initiatives that I want to see, but actually what you want to see as well.
Great. Ulysses has a follow-up question. So Stephen mentions part of the role of the Student Assembly being facilitating conversation between the students and the administration. Can you remark on that side of it? Because your answer is more focused on being an effective voice for the students. Can you address his definition?
Absolutely. I think he's absolutely right in that sense. That is our role, in fact, or one part of our role. And if you look at what we've been doing this year, particularly I can tell you what I've been doing, in addressing a lot of the diversity initiatives, we've noticed that students have not exactly had an effective voice in all realms of the student experience. One realm in particular is the realm of academia. It's amazing that is really the primary reason why we're here, yet we're never really consulted about the student experience. But nobody knows the student experience more than the students. So what we did was we created the Diversity Affairs Coalition, which is specifically aimed at addressing academic diversity initiatives. The better question is it's just really bringing together staff and students from each of the colleges in one room, so where we can discuss support services for all students on campus, where we can discuss content of courses, where we can discuss resources that are available in terms. So you've got this International Student Center that we've talked about. We've talked about inclusive book policies, things of that nature. So I have been working my hardest to absolutely make sure that students are in fact interacting with administrators, not only on the college level, but even on higher university levels with Susan Murphy. We have our monthly meetings with Susan Murphy, Vice President Susan Murphy, and of course President Scorton visits our meetings regularly. Actually, he'll be there on Thursday if any of you are interested in coming. You should be, and asking me all sorts of questions in that sense.
And Stephen, to follow up to you, a full minute 30 as he had, addressing his definition of the role of the Student Assembly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, because we're students, I don't think we should have to quote the charter every single time. I agree, Ulysses, I think hit it right on the head. I think it's about interacting with the students and outreaching and effectively engaging them. And you can do that through many different channels. It doesn't have to be just through the channel of diversity and inclusion, which I agree with Ulysses is very, very important. The reason I chose the Vice President of Public Relations is because I wanted to have an impact on the external message of the Student Assembly, which I think I've done a decent job at. I've created, if you go on votestephenbreeden.com, you can see the strategic plan that I put up on there, and also the implementation strategy that I've worked on as well. I agree, it's all about the interaction and facilitating that dialogue between the different student groups on campus. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's enough. One of the things that we always struggle with is programming. Should the Student Assembly be that organization that really puts on programs, or is that the job of the Student Assembly to provide funding and to provide resources for other groups to do that? Well, I'm here to say that the SA should take an active role in providing those programs as well. If our role is to touch every single student on campus, and that includes students who are traditionally disengaged, then we need to be out on the ground, making sure that we're interacting with those groups through outreach, through diversity inclusion efforts, and through public relations to making sure that that's getting done. I think it's more about the engagement piece than we're actually talking about.
Thank you. Next question.